I've never been one to make friends. I had casual friends here and there while I was growing up, but never significant, long-lasting friendship. Eventually, I found someone I clicked with, and she became my best friend. She was my friend throughout high school and on into college. Fast forward to junior year, spring semester, we went to a fraternity formal as best friends, and when we left, we never spoke again. Sometimes in life, you must make a choice to remove toxic people from your life, and it's the hardest but also one of the greatest things you can do for yourself. In 8th grade, I met a girl in one of my classes named Jasmine. We met through mutual friends and ended up being in some of the same classes together. We grew closer and ended up becoming best friends. After a while, we no longer spent time with our friend group, and it became just the two of us. We went through many ups and downs as we got older and changed as people. No matter how many fights we had, we always ended up forgiving one another and went back to the same old ways, up until February of 2017. Jasmine was always looking for a way to find attention from anyone who would give it to her. She met a boy named Will, who was a member of Kappa Sigma and needed a date to his formal. She told him that she would go with him and convinced him to find a date for me so she wouldn't be alone in New Orleans with the boy she'd just met. She decided pretty quickly that she didn't like Will and that this was going to be a girls' trip for the two of us. On the day we were to leave for New Orleans, my date, who I barely knew, showed up a little intoxicated and ended up not making it onto the bus with the rest of us. This was perfect for her plan because now there was only one guy to ditch. The trip was going great. We arrived to our hotel and got everything situated while her date went to Bourbon Street with his friends. The next morning we woke up early and decided to get a head start and explore the streets of New Orleans. That afternoon, her date texted us asking where we were. She ignored him, and that's when I knew this trip was not going to end well. We headed back to the hotel to get ready for the formal events. When we got back, Will was there getting ready. She did not say one word to him. Even when he would ask us questions, she would ignore him and tell me not to speak to him. After getting ready, we walked in a group to the restaurant they had reserved for the event. This was a very expensive restaurant, and Will was paying for Jasmine's dinner. She did not speak to him the entire dinner and would glare at me if I responded to anything that he said. She'd racked up a bill of $83, and Will paid for her meal along with his. She did not thank him, and that's when I really started to get upset with her. She was letting her true colors shine that night, and I was beginning to realize that all of our past issues would never be resolved because this is who she was as a person. After dinner, we went to a bar they had rented out and spent a good amount of time there. There was an open bar for those who were 21. She had her fake ID and got in over age, and I was already of age. When we walked in, I asked her to grab me a drink while I went to the bathroom, and she refused and ran off to flirt with some of the other fraternity members. When I came back out of the bathroom, I went out onto the balcony and talked to her, and she asked me to throw beads off of the balcony with her. I grabbed a handful of beads and walked back to the balcony. The beads kept falling out of my hands, and she became very upset with me and said, "Shelby, get up, you're acting drunk," despite me not having had a drink yet. The tone of voice she used with me was very rude, and I could tell that she was trying to put me down in front of the guy she had been talking to. I dropped all of the beads and walked back into the bar. I joined a group of people on the dance floor. One of the people in the group was Will. I ended up talking to him and apologizing for the way she had treated him at dinner. We danced for a while and decided it was time to go out and walk around Bourbon Street. I searched the bar and balcony for Jasmine and couldn't find her anywhere. I asked around and people informed me that she had left with a guy that wasn't in the fraternity. With that information, I decided to leave and explore with the group I had been with, including Will. One of the main reasons I left with him is because the only two with a hotel key were Jasmine and himself. One was missing, so I decided to stick with the other. After a couple hours, we headed back to the hotel for the night. As we were getting ready for bed, Jasmine came flying into the room like a bat from hell. She grabbed all of her things, cussing at me the whole time before she left. I was in shock and had no idea what I had done. When I asked her what she was so upset about, her only response was that she saw me and that everyone saw me. I had no idea what that meant, and still to this day have no clue as to what she was talking about. That was the last time we spoke to each other. I thought that I would be upset losing my best friends, but it ended up being a huge relief, and a weight was lifted off my shoulders. I never realized how much negativity she brought into my life. I got rid of a toxic person and gained two amazing friends from the whole fiasco, one of which is her date, Will. I learned that holding on to a toxic relationship can ultimately bring you down, and removing toxic people from your life will fill you with positivity and bring new opportunities into your life.